They're my row makers. They make my rows.
What's up, everybody? Bill with Honest Open Permaculture, Hop Farm, and I'm standing in front of my big Back to Eden garden, and I'm going to give you guys a tour of it. What's growing, what's going good, what's going bad, everything. Not only am I going to show you this one, but I'm going to show you every single garden that I have around on the homestead. So let's go. Back to Eden Market Garden is what I got going on right here. Now the chickens, I had them prep this land for me first. What I did is I put the main flock in here, surrounded by electric poultry net. So they had this big area to go around, fertilize in, scratch up in, eat bugs, eat weeds, and help bring fertility into the ground. After I pulled them out, I took that little chicken tractor back there that's covered by that blue tarp, and I ran them through here. If you are the type of gardener or the type of just person, I guess, that likes stuff in rows, neat, clean, orderly, like my wife, I love you, this stuff stresses her out, as she says. She says, I don't understand how you grow in something like this. None of this looks like it's gonna grow anything. It is producing like crazy in here. And why do I grow like this? Nature's not growing in rows back here. So why should we have to grow in rows right here? So I don't. It does make it a little bit difficult as far as weeding. That's one big thing about growing in rows. If you do grow in rows, you can weed it easier. Well, let's walk to the front right here, and then we'll work our way to the back. Kind of the more southern edge right here. We have a bunch of squash plants, all different types of squash. We've got pumpkin in here, we've got zucchini squash, we've got yellow squash, the crooked neck and the straight neck. We've got butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, all kinds. We got fruit. Here's a nice butternut squash coming in. Pumpkins coming in over here. Zucchinis. Yellow squash. Let's see, what else kind of fruit can we find right here? Oh, yeah, we got some spaghetti squash popping up here. There's another spaghetti squash popping up over here. There's a few perennials too. There's some choke cherries and blueberries that are hiding in there too. Right behind, with all these right here, this was peas. It's time for them to come out. This is one of my next projects. I'm going to be tearing out this whole row of peas right here. It's about 40 foot long. That's where all these stakes, the peas were going up the stakes. As you can tell, we still have some left over, getting plump, but it's getting too warm for the peas, so it's starting to die off. They still taste good. And right behind the peas, got a 40-foot row of green beans. Mixed in with a few pumpkin plants that decided to pop up. I did feed my chickens some pumpkins while they were here. I left a few seeds behind, and as you can tell, the pumpkin plant is starting to take over. So I'm going to get in there and clear out some of the pumpkin plant also, so we can work a little bit better. But right here is a whole bunch of green beans. See if we can find some for you. They're all in here. Young ones mixed in with older ones. These are awesome fresh too. No strings in these. Let's take a bite. Crunchy, juicy. I like a fresh green bean. Delicious. Excuse me for talking with my mouth full. I know my mama taught me better. Well, sometimes you just do what you do. After the green beans, we have got tomatoes. Out at the end of the row right here, I got a little basil plant. We got 40-foot row of tomatoes, and they are starting to explode, y'all. I did a good amount of clearing, as you can tell, underneath these tomatoes. There's tomatoes all over the place. We have very high humidity here, so I have to make sure to keep these clean, keep them not cluttered, open them up so they can breathe, so the air can get in there and they won't rot. Yeah, pumpkin growing with my tomatoes. That's a good example of what I'm gonna do with the other pumpkin. See how that one pumpkin's there, and I cut out all the leaves around it except the ones that are behind it. So these big leaves can still give that pumpkin some food from the sun. Tomatoes everywhere in here, 40-foot row of them. Look at that, that's the first one right there that's starting to turn, guys. And y'all saw me build this trellis right here for them. I'll link that in an iCard dropping in and put it down in the description. The trellis is working well. It gets pretty grassy in here. I didn't put enough wood chips down, so the grass really poked through over here and is exploding. Back here we had a row of beets. Now it's a row of weeds. Or not beets, radishes, sorry. I didn't take care of it after I harvested all the radishes, and it has gone to grass and weeds. On the other side, there's a bed of carrots right here. About 20 foot of carrots. Right behind the carrots, there's a bunch of sunflowers. All right back in there. All these right here are sunflowers. So that's our big Back to Eden garden. And we're growing all kinds of stuff in right here. This right here is a trellis of cucumbers. Same trellis I did with the tomatoes. Let's see if we can find any cucumbers in here. We've got a couple different types too. There's a lemon cucumber and just a pickling cucumber, and then a longer cucumber. I forget what that's called. I want to try to find you guys one of these lemon cucumbers though. They're pretty interesting. Oh, here, down here. There we go. It's like a ball. That's a lemon cucumber. Oh, here's another one, lemon cucumber. They don't have a lemon taste, they just kind of look like a lemon. Here's a cucumber hanging in right here. So beside these cucumbers, we got another trellis. We have some younger tomatoes that I really haven't done much to yet. I need to come in and do some pruning to them, thin them out underneath, do a little weeding. And then on the back side of this, there's some cooler weather crops, some lettuces, some Swiss chard that the bugs are absolutely loving, as you can tell. Also have some cucumber. This is cucumber right here, gonna pop up. So on the same trellis, I'm gonna grow tomatoes on the front and cucumbers on the back, with a little leafy greens behind it. And down here we have another row of tomatoes. Same trellis besides, right down at the end. I need about 4 or 5 more feet of fence to trellis these tomatoes up. I've done some pruning on these. I need to do a little bit more. As you can tell, we've got tomatoes growing in them. All over the place. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. And they're growing up the trellis quite well. We actually had some of these smaller tomatoes. These actually turn orange when they're ready, so that's a ready tomato right there. We've got a couple orange ones in there that are ready. We've got a couple more, actually 14 more garden beds. That's not good. I found these sitting outside the bed. Wonder what's coming in and taking them. Good, I might have to put a electric poultry net around those tomatoes there to keep out whatever is getting in. I don't want them to take all my maters. All right, here's another bed. Here's another area right here. This has 14 beds in it. And I am in the process of turning most of these beds over, taking out the cooler weather crops. Like these cabbages are pretty much done. There's some bug pressure on them, but they did pretty well. Some more cabbages over here. Some Swiss chard planted throughout. Kale. There was lettuce in the middle, it's been harvested. Some more Swiss chard up there towards the top. These, I don't know if it's gonna make it. It's supposed to be cauliflower. It looks like it wants to try to make it, but the bug pressure was so heavy on these things. That's a purple cauliflower. The bug pressure was so heavy that it really took the leaves off. I've got the bugs under control. They're pretty much gone. Well, there's not much left for them to eat. I had to use a lot of diatomaceous earth and a lot of time just picking them off. So we'll see if we'll get any good heads of cauliflower off these. A couple more cabbages in the next row. Some lettuces in the middle. Some more cauliflower on that side. Some Swiss chard that's looking wilty. More Swiss chard. Down here on this part, I did cover this complete area with wood chips, and obviously I didn't cover it good enough down here because the grass is really starting to take over. It's okay. This is only the second year gardening in this area. Every year it's going to get better because I'm going to keep adding more wood chips, more organic matter, keep drowning out those weeds, keep adding my chickens in here to add fertility. So every year it'll get better. This bed is pretty much done. As you can tell, this lettuce is bolted. Some kale, some Swiss chard. Still got onions along the outside. I'm not expecting them to produce a big bulb. Using those onions right now for scallions. Well, pumpkin plant up here at front that decided to grow on its own. Some more kale, cabbage. Oh yeah, down here I have turned over this bed that's really grassy. And it's got some squash popping up in these beds here that I planted by seed. And a random tomato that just decided to come up. I left it in there. We'll see what it does. So I have turned this bed over also. I just planted seed in it. I don't think anything's coming up yet. Sunflower. Some herbs on the outside. I believe that's parsley there. Some more herbs on the end. Some marigolds. See, it doesn't look like anything's sprouting up in this bed that I've turned over. It was nothing but broccoli in here. And there was broccoli in here also. We do have some more squash plants about popping up right here. This bed's been turned over and reseeded in squash. Down here, the last of the cabbage. This is gonna go to the pigs. It's been so eaten up by bugs. So it's not gonna go to waste. It's gonna go to the pigs. And if it didn't go to the pigs, it'd go to the compost pile and make soil for next year. A couple big heads in there still. I think I might be able to save that one. And maybe that one there. I've got one more spot to show you in this back field. This garden area kind of started off like the Back to Eden garden area. I cut this whole field that we're standing in right here and took all the grass clippings and put them in this area. And for about a month, I had my main flock work that pile of grass clippings, spreading it, manuring on it, eating the weed seeds out of it. After I pulled them out, I came over with this rectangle chicken tractor with these girls in it. Not sure if you can see it because of the shade. Say, hey girls. These girls come out and they row out. They're my row makers. They make my rows. They rowed 3 rows here for me. I've got one here that's got watermelon and acorn squash growing together. Another here, potatoes. Where it gets really tall right there, I had some onions in it. They are gone. Right here, more potatoes. And about halfway down this row, there's some beautiful sunflowers really starting to take off. He's going to work. So, a little bed of sunflowers that are really starting to bloom. I'm gonna be harvesting these potatoes right now, actually. As soon as I'm done giving y'all the tour, I'm gonna be coming back in here and harvesting these potatoes. All right, so now we need to go back towards the front of the property. We made it. Let me turn you around, show you what's going on. Now y'all seen me plant this bed out. This was, what did I label this one? Oh, using homemade compost, a square foot garden method. So up here at the front, we have some cooler weather crops that didn't make it. Like, look at this lettuce right here. It looks pretty sad. This lettuce looks sad. That lettuce looks sad. Over here, they don't look like they did very well. The eggplants are looking not good. This is not something I'm proud of right here. Look how bad these eggplants look, guys. The bug pressure, the potato beetle absolutely stripped me back here on these eggplants. I came back here multiple times a day to pick potato beetles off, and I still couldn't keep up with them. There is some fruit on it, on a couple of them, so we'll see if it produces. Right behind those, there's yellow squash. We've got yellow squash. Ooh, that needs to be picked in there. It's big. You can see it down in there. Some crooked neck and some straight neck in here. And then up at the beginning, up here at the front, there's peppers. All kinds of different peppers. Some green bell peppers, some red bell peppers, some orange bell peppers, some hot peppers. And it is beetle season now, guys. Those little beetles are coming out to try to eat everything up. Peppers, squash, and eggplant back here. Let's take you on to another spot. All right, we made it to another spot. Let's show you down here what we got. There's about a 40-foot row right here, planted in all kinds of different stuff. At the southern edge, we have the stuff that's not going to grow as tall. Leafy lettuce, lettuces, romaine lettuces. The heat is definitely starting to get to them, so I don't know how much longer they have left. Right behind them is peppers. As you can tell, we got little peppers starting to come in. This one's got flowers on it. Let's see what this one. This one's got more flowers on it. There's actually some peppers down here. Some more peppers. So right behind the peppers there was squash. The squash did not do very well here at all. A lot of bug pressure for the squash here. As you can tell, there's a little booger right there. Those little yellow squash bugs that look like fake ladybugs, they have really messed up the squash right here in this area. Right behind the squash, there's tomatoes growing up this fence right here. And those have been heavily pruned. Just got those done yesterday, actually, so they're looking pretty clean right now. More cherry tomatoes, smaller tomatoes growing here. There's a nice little bunch coming along. And then one more garden area, one more spot that I'm pretty excited about. I've been working on the past couple of days is our pumpkin patch. That this big girl right here, I don't know if you can see him because of the shade, big floppy that's in this house over there, are kind of helping me with this pumpkin patch. And let me explain to you what's going on here and how the pigs are helping me. So first off, the pigs poop and pee, which is fertilizer. I'm not growing edible pumpkins in here. These are all ornamental pumpkins. I'm using cardboard to help suppress the grass and the weeds. The fence that Mama's walking along right now was right here. And because they walk along this area, it took down the grass and no weeds, nothing there. So I can move the fence from here. I jumped it over to here. I came through with a shovel and I dug up just a little bit, loosened up the soil, and then I put a bucket load of leaf compost, leaf mold, on that broken up soil. Came back with my starts, my pumpkin starts, and made sure I plant my pumpkin starts in the actual ground. Not the leaf compost that's sitting on top of the ground, but put the starts in the ground so those roots can reach out into the ground. This is my latest row right here. I need to come through with cardboard all this up. I will come through with a push mower first on its lowest setting and try to get the grass as low as possible, and then throw cardboard over it to help suppress it. I know the cardboard isn't going to work 100%. I know I'm going to have weeds out here, guys. I know the grass is going to keep growing, but this is going to help. So the next step is I'm moving the fence back to about right here on the other side of where they walked, and I'll plant another row right in there. So the pumpkin patch, this is the month to be putting your pumpkins in, especially in zone 7B here in North Carolina where we're at, to have them ready by, you know, Halloween and fall. This is the month. That was a tour of all of our garden beds. Now I'm the only one that tends to these beds, so if you saw a bunch of weeds, that would be why. So don't hate me for the weeds. I hope you guys enjoyed my little tour of all of our gardens, all the different food we're growing here, and all the different methods that I'm doing it in. I need to get back there to the back, harvest these potatoes. If you guys are interested in watching that, stay tuned. Actually, the potato video may come out before this video. I don't know, we'll see. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you. Make sure you hit the little subscribe button down in the corner. And there's also a bell. If you bang that bell, hit that bell notification, it'll let you know every time I put a video out. Give me a big thumbs up and share this with a friend. Later, y'all.